Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel dedicated to narcissistic abuse and recovery from it. I've been married to a covert narcissist for almost 20 years. I'm separated from him now, and my children and I are going through the process of dealing with the narcissistic abuse that he's inflicted on us. We are currently in recovery. And what I want to do with this channel is I use my real life examples as therapy for myself and also as a warning to other people to avoid doing the things that I did. Now, today's video is going to be about being married to an alcoholic. My narcissistic husband is an alcoholic, and I have heard it said that while not all narcissists are addicts, that all addicts are narcissists. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I can see where that comes from. Because if you are an addict of any type, you do put your addiction first. Now I realize at some point it becomes out of your control. So I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying I can understand where that comes from. So I'm going to describe in this video what it's really like to be married to an alcoholic. Now, I started dating my husband when we were both in our mid-20s. And so this was a couple years after college, but he still very much lived a college-type lifestyle. He was in a fraternity, and that fraternity was extremely important to him. And in fact, we had gotten in a fight one time because I referred to the fraternity as a frat, and he thought that that was very disrespectful. I mean, he was hardcore into this fraternity. His friends still called him by his college nickname, which was Norm, like in Cheers, you know, that guy that just sat at the bar and drank. That was his nickname. So even alcohol was a huge thing to him. He had tickets. He had season tickets to a Major League Baseball team, that was the local team. And he would go to, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm thinking there were 80 home games, something like that. He would go to all the games, and he would either go to a bar. Well, he would go to a bar first usually, but he always would bring in rum as well. So he would have like a pint of rum. He would have rum and Coke the whole time. He would get drunk every single game. There was not one game that he didn't get drunk at. Now, we used to take the subway back to our apartment, so he wasn't driving, thankfully, but he was getting drunk. If it was off season or it was not a game, he would drink at home. And he was a heavy drinker. It was a nightly thing. I'm not a drinker. I do drink alcohol sometimes, but never to excess, and certainly not when I was out of college for several years. I was interested in starting my life. I wanted to get married and have children. Of course, that was part of what kept me with him, because I had already invested into the relationship, and he asked me to marry him, and we were engaged at this time, and I really wanted to get married and have children. So fast forward to us being married. We bought our own home. I was pregnant. I was so happy. And he kept drinking. We had our first child, and he kept drinking every single night. He would drink at least 12 beers and a bottle of wine. Now, it does me no good or you if I lie or exaggerate in these videos. So I realize that I sound ridiculous for putting up with this, but I did. At the time, I'm a lot different now, but I had a one-track mind. I wanted to be married and have babies. That I just wanted that. So it annoyed me that he drank like this, but I was focused on my kids and being a good wife. I never thought, well, geez, he's not focused on being a good husband or a good father. I should have, but I didn't. So he kept drinking, and then fast forward a few more years, and it turns out that he went to see a doctor, and surprise, he had liver problems. So his doctor wanted him to have a biopsy, and he was very scared. So he had the biopsy, and it turned out that he had fatty liver, because not only was he such a heavy drinker, but he was also overweight. So those two things together, he had fatty liver. Now, the good news with fatty liver is that it's reversible if you change your diet and stop drinking. So he never really changed his diet, but he told me he stopped drinking, and I believed him. So finally, he wasn't drinking like he was. Like, I mean, because it was literally every single night, tons of alcohol. It used to embarrass me, the recycling can, because like not a can, but container, it was full of alcohol every time, every week. But he told me he quit. So then, fast forward a few more years, and we moved, and we're in a nicer house, and I thought everything was going pretty good. Now, he was still a narcissist at this time, so my life wasn't perfect. He still had his, and at the time I didn't know what a narcissist was until about a year ago. What I did know about him is that he could be a real jerk sometimes. He would give me silent treatment sometimes. There were definitely issues, but it wasn't all the time. And that's the thing, if you're married, if a narcissist acts like a jerk every single day, nobody would be with them, right? So, we had our times, but it was more good than bad. And about 2 years ago, he really started having problems. I don't want this video to be too long, but as I make more videos, I'm going to try to make a video every day, or at least most days. So I'll get into what these problems were, but he really started going downhill about 2 years ago, and that's when he confessed to me. Maybe it was a year and a half ago he confessed this to me. We were in the same house in different rooms, and he texted me and told me that he was an alcoholic. Now, I thought that he had stopped drinking. It turns out that he had never stopped drinking. He just told me he stopped drinking. But he had switched to vodka, and he would drink a pint of vodka every single day. He worked an hour from the house, so he would drive back and forth to his office, and he told me that when he was about a half hour from the house, he would start drinking. We have 40 acres of woods behind us. He had hid alcohol bottles in the woods, in the shed, in the trunk of his car. He would hide them in the trash cans. He would constantly be drinking, and I didn't know. Now, there were a few times that I smelt alcohol on him, and I asked him about this, and he would deny that he had drank, and I believed he quit drinking. So it wasn't until he told me that he was an alcoholic and then confessed all this stuff that I found out he had never stopped drinking. So I tried to help him. We talked about it, and he said he was going to get help. He never actually got help, but what he did do was tell me that, guess what? He quit drinking again. He miraculously quit drinking. And I did believe him, but I was hesitant on it, because he had lied to me before, and I had started to wake up around this time. So then he started taking our family to church. Now, I am religious, he is not. But he started going to church. He told me that he wanted to be a family man. But every week at church, he would nod off. And I could smell alcohol on him. So at first, I didn't say anything. And I thought, all right, I must be imagining this. He's trying to be a good person. I mean, I obviously was incredibly naive. But I believed this. I was like, he's trying to be a good person. He's coming to church, because I used to hate going to church just with my kids. I felt ironically like a single mother, which is exactly what I always was, really. And it turns out, because then we had another big confession time, and guess what? He hadn't quit drinking. He just told me he had. And this culminated in about a year ago. It was last August. Well, I guess, it started, last June, where he started missing things. He missed our son's birthday. He would start sleeping in his car. And then in August, he passed out in his car with a loaded gun, and the police woke me up in the middle of the night. That's for another story. And that was the beginning of the end of us. At that point, he went to a mental hospital, and there they addressed his alcoholism, which they didn't really, but that's for another story. And he started going to AA. Then he told me that he quit drinking, but he was going to AA, and he loves AA. He just loves AA. That's the best thing for him, according to him. Now, I don't have an issue with AA personally. I know it has helped millions of people, and I have no reason to think that it's anything but a wonderful organization. When it comes to him specifically, I'm not so sure it's great for him. That's because as a narcissist, and I know I said earlier in the video that I have heard that all addicts are narcissists, so I don't know if other people have this problem with AA too. Maybe they do, maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just my husband. I feel that at AA, because he suddenly has a lot of excuses for himself. Oh, it's not my fault. Everyone there understands me. It makes him feel good about his drinking, basically. Like, it's not his fault. He's not taking accountability, I guess is what it is. So as he started really getting into AA, he started becoming really horrible to the kids and I. Now, he had been horrible. The last 2 years has been a downward trajectory for him. But AA, just any part of him that was trying to be good just ended, because AA gave him excuses for what he's done, how he is. He doesn't feel, even though I know AA has a 12-step program, and one of the steps is, making things up to other people or admitting your faults, something like that. Well, he doesn't do that. So today, I don't know if he drinks or not. I'm not sure, because he doesn't live in the house with us anymore. He is homeless and lives in his car, so I suspect heavily that he is drinking. And there's been several times already that he's told me he quit when he really hasn't. So according to him, he's quit, but this is the same man that lives in a car, so I don't know. But that's just a little taste of what it's like to be married to an alcoholic. It's really ugly. It's, before I was married to him and knew what a hardcore alcoholic was, I had heard stories but had no idea what it really means. This is what it really means. And this is just a little taste, just like a little surface thing, so this video doesn't get too long. But I hope that helps somebody, or somebody finds some interest in this. My email is in the link. If anybody would like to contact me, please feel free to. I'd love it if you like this video to please give it a thumbs up. And I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this. And I will see you in the next video.